Welcome to Buckets Don't Stop, presented by Jackpot City Casino. This is episode 3. I'm Ekam Nagra. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Smash that thumbs up, comment, and follow us on socials. Bucket Don't Stop. On today's show, we're joined by another bucket getter right here, man. My guy, Anthony Morrow, spent 9 years in the NBA with the Warriors, Nets, Hawks, Mavs, Pelicans, Thunder, Bulls from '08 to 2017. He was named North Carolina's Mr. Basketball in 2004 at Georgia Tech. Let's give a warm Buckets Don't Stop welcome to Anthony Morrow, man. Thank you for joining us, bro.
Man, thank y'all for having me, bro. You know I love y'all guys, man. I watch y'all like every day.
Yes, sir, man. How tapped in are you into today's game before we get into your career right now?
Locked in, bro. We still stay close to the game. Like we always, we got to see, what's going on, man. It's the league, man. We came out the womb watching the NBA, so that don't ever stick. College and NBA, so
I want to get into that because, like, basketball is kind of like in the blood. It's embedded into us. Like, we're gonna watch every night, no matter what. If the product is ass, if the product is booming, we're gonna watch. You see us. I was gonna say Spalding. You see a Wilson, you see a hoop, you're gonna tune in, right?
Right.
There's a lot of talk right now about the product, about the league, about the load management, about the tanking, about how it's all threes and layups is what when you watch today's game, right? And you're comparing it to the era that you came up watching, the era of the league that you played in. What do you see? What do you see that's missing? Because I know you got a lot of stuff to say about this, but what's the main differences? What's missing in today's game from all the prior eras where people keep the topic of conversation is that the old NBA was a superior product. That's what I'm seeing when I go on social media.
I don't really like give into that narrative, bro. No more. Like I don't look at it like that. Like it's a cop out when you say the league's soft now. To me, that's a cop out. Like it's not soft. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that from like a competitive standpoint. Load management has changed some things, but you got guys that really want to play that's been hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like really legit injuries. So I mean that happens. Like when it happens, Mike averaged 37 one year. He got hurt, and it wasn't like, oh man, they soft. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not like that. I don't think that the league is soft. I think it's just a different brand of basketball, and it's something for the guys back then to bring up because it's a topic of conversation. Right. So I don't think the league is soft at all.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's just a different brand of basketball. And it's a different generation.
Right. And this
I
brand
do not
of basketball,
like load management though. Don't get me wrong.
No, this brand of basketball, you would have been perfect for this game because the 3-and-D guy is the guy that's getting paid. He's highly valued. You have your two stars that are going to cook and create. But other than that, the most valuable piece on the floor now in today's game is a guy that can shoot the three ball at a high clip and get after it defensively on the other end. When you're watching this league, right, are you like, damn, I came a generation early to this sport? Because I feel like in today's game, you would have been valued even more.
Nah, bro, I told my mama she had me too early. Should have had me about 10 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for real, I did. But no, I already see it, and that's part of the reason why I love watching it because, you see a lot of guys that probably wouldn't have the opportunity that I got in 2008, because of how the game was different. But, right now, man, if when I train with my training company, AM Training 456, when I train, I tell the guys, I'm like, look, we're going to refine whatever you're really good at, but if you can't shoot, we're going to be working on that more than anything. Because if you can't shoot in now today's game, even as a big man, it ain't no place for you in the NBA and maybe not even overseas, because the league is taking over, it's adapted to the overseas game and you got to be skilled, So that was one thing that I never had a problem with. Like, I worked on everything.
Right.
Even when you get to the league, when you mid-level, whatever guy, you may not have to be a superstar, but you got to work on your entire game. If they try to put you in a box, you still got to have everything else in your bag.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So as a shooter, right, what goes into it? Like, you're coming up at a young age. Obviously, there's form, there's the technical aspect of shooting, right? Everyone has different form. Everyone has their own unique build in how they shoot the ball, whether it's the size of their hands, length of your arms, like the way. But in terms of if Anthony Morrow is telling a kid that's in the league right now, a young kid that's trying to perfect his three ball, because that's what you did, right? You came in, you took the league by storm early. You have multiple games where you hit 4, 5, 6 threes in a game, breaking games open, tilting games with your shot making from beyond the arc. What goes in, and before we get into Steph, what goes into being an elite shooter in the NBA? Because where it's do or die every time you touch the ball with 20,000 fans watching you.
Consistency in your work. I mean, I wasn't leaving the gym every day. I wasn't going home at the end of the night without making at least 400 or 500 jump shots in that day.
Wow.
So like
makes or
makes.
taking.
Yeah, we ain't just shooting. Makes. Yeah. I make that clear. Makes.
Yeah.
Like I gotta see that go through I gotta see it go through the rim.
Head to jackpotcitydark.ca, grab your welcome bonus, and play responsibly. All right, time to play some slots, guys. Yeah, the dunk contest, man. Look, it's getting a lot of heat because we're not seeing big names in it. Honestly, I miss it. We used to get guys like Steve Francis, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady at one point. But even later years, you had perennial like starters, Jason Richardson, guys that were legit shooting guards playing, wings for your squad that you would see every night on national TV, playing in the dunk, competing in the dunk contest. So Dwight Howard, I want to see that come back. Right, it would have been dope to get Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, Anthony Edwards, but I get the injury concerns. The NBA might have to fold the dunk contest. Okay, I got a 5 of a kind that gets me $16. Solid. Thanks for playing with us at Jackpot City Casino. Let's get back to Buckets Don't Stop.
So I would say in terms of technicalities, work on your lower body. Because the more in shape you are from hips down, that's going to determine your shot ethic. And I always say shot ethic because my base, if my base wasn't right, my shot could never be consistent.
Right.
And I always use an example. I use Klay Thompson as an example, in his prime. Even now, his jumper look the same. It's just, older injuries, whatever. But, I mean, he's still got the same shot. And if you see Klay, he's 6'7", but he don't look big and strong, but if you look at his calves, legs, and everything, pause, he looked it looked like his base is always on point. That's why his shot up here is always natural.
Right.
This is never going to change.
Right.
But if you start having lower extremity injuries and all that, you can't do the same workouts to keep your legs and your calves and your hips in shape. That does affect your jump shot over over amount of time. But I tell the youngsters all the time, I'm not telling you to go in there and do 300 pounds on squats or 400-pound squats, but do something body weight every day or every other day to keep your lower body in shape and strong. Because this is gonna make this easier.
Right. And I look at great. I 100% agree with you. I wasn't the shooter that you are, but I put up 400 or 500 shots a day in high school, early college up here. Your lower body, and I'm a strength and conditioning out here too, so have my own facility. What we work on is if you're a shooter, the deeper you get, the deeper into a game you get, the further out you get, your form should remain the same. If your legs and core are strong, if your lower body and your core are strong as shit, your form is going to remain consistent. You're going to have the same release the further out you get, whether you're under pressure. You look at shooters like Dame Lillard, you look at Steph Curry, guys that are shooting from 30, 33 feet out. I tell kids all the time, those are some of the biggest beasts in the weight room in the NBA right now because of their lower body and core strength, allowing them to shoot the ball from that far out, right?
Yeah, that's real. And then, obviously footwork. That's why I teach a lot of the young guys, coming off screens, shooting off screens, getting your feet down quick. I spent a lot of time on that in the offseason. The quicker you get your feet down, Ray Allen was great at that. He could step 1-2 off a screen, or you hop off 2 feet really quick off a screen, depending
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So you got to work on both of those. Like I
Yeah.
learned that looking at Ray and Kobe Bryant.
Right.
Ray Allen and Kobe Bryant, man, they had the kind of, and Kyle Korver, my
Yeah.
former teammate. So that's what I used to tell him. Like, and then once you get that down, it's almost like you don't think about it.
It's
So in the
automatic.
game, yeah, I'm like, if you don't, those all the guys I just named don't care if they miss.
Right.
You know, especially when you know you averaging 27 or something like that. That helps too. But
Right.
it is what it is.
You look at Kon Knueppel. You guys got him down there in Charlotte right now. He's another guy right there. Strong base, same release point, like similar to Klay. You know, it just flows. Watching that guy right now hoop, I think he has all the makings of an all-time great shooter. You know, for this
Yeah.
I think he could be the best three-point shooter of this new generation. I'm talking about Kon Knueppel. I'm talking about this Hornet squad. They're buzzing right now. You know, Buzz City obviously is back, and you got LaMelo Ball. You got a squad down there that's taking the East by storm. You know, what's the buzz around Kon, and what's the buzz around this squad right now in Charlotte?
Nah, Charlotte definitely buzzing right now with the Hornets playing well. And it's good to see that. They got great, like right now, really good young coaching. Made some changes upstairs in the front office, obviously. And I always say, I was like, they healthy on paper. Like, this is the year for them to go to the playoffs.
Right.
The Bucks are down. You know, Jason Tatum's out, even though Boston's still playing well. So I'm like, man, I'm not even thinking playing for them. I'm thinking like they can just straight make the playoffs.
Right.
You know, I hated that, the brawl, the melee in Charlotte with Detroit. Because I just hope that doesn't mess up any chemistry or any momentum that they have going right now. But in terms of Kon, man, I don't think they had a shooter like him in a long time. Like a knockdown, can't leave him open. His footwork is amazing. His form, it looked the same every time, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And he went like 6'7", 6'8", something like that. I mean, I liked him at Duke. I knew they were going to I knew he was going to go higher than people thought. I didn't know he was going to go that high. But, I mean, if Cooper isn't playing like he playing, he could clear-cut Rookie of the Year. I said that all year. I'm like, he been consistently hooping like all year. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely, man, like him. And then you got a point guard that won a pass. You got Melo. You know, they got all the elements. They got size now, rebounding. They got toughness, obviously. And then you got Kon and you got B. Mill. That's he's in 2 or 3 years, he's going to be like unguardable.
Right.
If he stay on the right, if he continues to trend how he's trending now, and Melo, I mean, you know how he is. Look, 6'8" Jason Kidd.
Elite.
Right.
Yeah. So,
elite, bro.
Going back to shooters, right? You play with the best shooter we've ever seen. Steph Curry came into the league together. You kind of saw Steph before Steph became this household name. When he was in his early years trying to figure everything out. Take us through that. How was that, bro? Because, you were there when he had his ankle issues. You were there when he had, can this guy play like this in this league? It was looked down on that time for a young point guard to be shooting from 30 feet out, cooking like that. He kind of took a risk saying, I'm going all in on who I am. And you saw that happen. You saw him through the ups and downs early on. I could say this, Steph, I always loved his game at Davidson, but if you look at the league the way it was up until 08, 9, 10, there was no way you could have told me, even as great as he was as a lottery pick, that this guy would dominate the game and completely flip it upside down. There's no way, because the sport was played in just such a different way. The meaning of a point guard, even a scoring point guard, was get to the rack, get to the line, like a AI, like a D Wade. What he did, where you saw him, take us through that Steph Curry becoming Steph Curry, and you being Anthony Morrow next to him playing off that.
Well, it kind of started when I was in college, and I think he was on the way to Davidson. And we were in a pro-am at what's called the Grady Cole Center here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And, guys used to always go at him, pick him up full court, foul him. try to push him around. He was a little dude, you know what I'm saying? He could always shoot though. He could always shoot. You left him open, he's knocking it down. It just wasn't the bop come off, so he's playing in the game. I had a game earlier. He playing in the game afterwards. And he got two guards that's just like bumping him, picking him up full. It's a packed gym. Dale Curry's there, everything. So first half, he kind of, it was fouled. He was turning it over. He kind of was being passive. I don't know what happened, but in the second half of that game, he had like 45. And I remember I was with him and Dale after the game because I was just like chopping it up before we all left. And Dale was like, "Hey man, I don't know what happened to you going into that second half, but play like that all the time. I don't care if you miss a shot. I don't care if you airball. I don't care if you turn it over. Play like that." He ain't never looked back. So when he got to draft day, fast forward, I remember the Warriors, we had the 7th pick, and I was there. I was working out. And it's, how it's all media on draft day, running around. I do my routine. I come out and get something to eat. So I'm with the press. And I remember the head press guy, that's my guy to this day. And we were talking about Steph. I'm like, I need to draft Steph. But they wanted Brandon Jennings, which I wouldn't have been mad at. He a California guy, and he was really talented. And I need to draft Steph. It was like, I don't know, a lot of guys like him end up overseas. But shout out to Don Nelson.
Wow.
Because Don was like, he wanted to go to New York. Basically, he didn't say this to me personally, but I'm like, when they took him, I was like, oh, he wasn't going to let him get to New York. You know what I'm saying? And you see what happened. And I said, I told y'all. I told y'all to draft him.
Right.
But, oh, man, it was, that's just to watch the journey, though, and get to actually play alongside him and kind of grow up together and watch his development. He was always like that. He just had to unlock it.
When those earlier years with the Warriors, looking back at it now, could you tell that, because there was a moment that they could have traded him. They were going to choose between him and Monte Ellis.
Yeah.
Was the belief when you were in practices, was the energy like, yo, they fully have bought into Steph? Or was it kind of like, yo, we don't know? It's a little while, but like, do they believe in him? I know Mark Jackson eventually did, but what was it like those early years? Was it like you could tell that he's kind of like a trial run with them? Or was it like, yo, he's the face of this franchise?
Day one, bro. They started him first game of the season against Houston. He played well. He had like 17, but he had like a terrible turnover that lost us the game. And like I remember all the vets like, he ain't ready to play. He ain't this. He ain't that. I'm like, Don is not turning his back on him. He chose him.
Yeah,
he's not turning his back.
That's awesome.
And it was just part of the game, bro. Like in the process, in the journey. I was like, he turned his back on this boy, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because the way he played, Don was opening him up like, play yourself like you did at Davidson. And it is what it is. And I remember that whole shit going on with him and Monte. Well, it wasn't him and Monte. It was like the media and everybody else in Monte, with Steph and Monte. And, Monte's a hell of a player, bro. He was super underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Still my guy. He was cold.
Mm-hmm. Cold.
And I think that the way they played, was too small of a backcourt for back then. You know what I'm saying? Like now, you could have success with, before the trade, obviously, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Mm-hmm. But back then, it wasn't going to work like that.
No, it was different.
And once the media get involved, it's like, oh, they got to make a choice. Is it Steph? Is it, Right. And then they eventually made the trade. And Monte still had a great career after that.
Yes. Oh. Monte Ellis was another guy, man, like underrated, like you said, put up 24 a game at his peak, lightning quick, got to the rim whenever, broke defenses down for a living. Like, how cold was he those early years? Because there was, obviously you guys weren't winning, but this is a guy that was unguardable, and, he doesn't get that love.
And Monte was, bro, he was one of those dudes. It was like kind of like you just start watching him on the court. Yeah. Because he had all the moves. His mid-range was crazy. You know, you couldn't just let him shoot threes. Like he wasn't like he was a capable 3-point shooter, but you rather him shoot threes, but he might make 3 or 4 of those, and
Right.
you look up and he got 52.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was
Right.
unguardable, bro, because he was so fast and like athletic. You know, I got to play like the year before. That was the year before. The year before when I got there, he had just got his bag. Like
Right.
you know, and that year before that, I remember watching them, man, because we didn't get a lot of Golden State games down here, but you know, actually seeing that in person and playing against him and having to guard him in practice, and I mean, it wasn't. He didn't really have a hole in his game offensively, and a lot of it was. I mean, he was so athletic and fast, you can't guard it anyway. But
Yeah.
he don't get enough credit for his IQ. You know, his shot making ability, like mid range shot making ability, was cash.
Cold.
You lay off of him, he gonna blow by you, or he gonna stop, pull the tray ball. Like he had everything, bro.
This is a nightmare, bro. Nightmare. I was looking. What's crazy is right when we discuss doing this episode, the 2010 rookie sophomore game photo came up on my timeline.
Yeah, I had to put it up, man.
Yeah, and I seen you with Eric Gordon, OJ Mayo. Who else was on that squad?
Mike Beasley.
Mike Beasley. Wow.
Mark Gasol.
Was Blake Griffin in that game?
Was Blake? Nah, Blake, was he?
He was hurt the first year, but I think he would have been in that game on the opponent.
I think Blake was in the All-Star game.
Oh, wow.
If I'm not mistaken.
2010.
Yeah, because they was like, LeBron wasn't even in the All-Star game. His first year, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russ, Westbrook, Danilo Gallinari, Brook Lopez. Who down the back? Oh, Kevin Love, Mike Beasley. Well, that was
crazy.
a tough crew.
Tough. So how crazy was it for you to be in that mix that early in your career, going undrafted, and now you're with these guys that were nationally ranked? I'm talking phenoms, bro. Eric Gordon, OJ Mayo. Like, these were some big, Kevin Love. These were some big-time names. So that group of rookie, sophomore, Anthony Morrow's in there. Obviously, you were a three-point specialist. You had a great first 2 years coming out. You made your mark right away with that squad. They let you play. How was that, bro? And talk to me about being in that room. That was an all-star weekend. I think they were in the stadium in Dallas, Texas, right?
Yep.
That was an all-time weekend right there.
I forgot we were in the stadium. That was crazy.
Yeah.
It was amazing, bro. But I never felt overwhelmed because a lot of those guys, like you play against them in Nike camp, NBA camp, ABCD. Like, well, I wasn't ABCD. Like, you play against these guys. You grew up playing against them, AAU, all that. So, I mean, I never felt overwhelmed. But the feeling I remember having then was like the acceptance.
Right.
They respected me. You know what I'm saying? And I demanded that anyway because of how I worked. But at the same time, I never felt overwhelmed, but it was great. That was a great experience, bro. Like, remember like just chopping it up with Marc Gasol and like, I'm like, damn, Mark, cool as hell. Like, and little stuff like he jumped on the bus. We were on the way to practice, to an event or something. He like, good morning, Anthony. I'm like, what's up, Mark? And then I knew OJ. OJ was cool, man. OJ was great. And Eric was my teammate in New Orleans, great dude. So it was cool kind of for the, acceptance of it, because you come in undrafted. A lot of people think you're taking a back seat. I ain't never feel like taking no back seat because I'm gonna compete,
Right.
But that was a tough sophomore crew right there, man. I remember Russ had like 40 that game.
Yeah.
Chopped it up with Russ. Russ was like, just stay open, bro. I'm gonna hit you. You know what I'm saying? But he had like 40. But
Right.
it was cool. That was for that. I think Tyreek Evans and them boys was on the rookie team. Tyreek, DeJuan Blair, and those guys. But I think that year I believe Blake was in the All-Star game though. But
That era, what was it with that era of guards, like those phenoms from that time period? You had DeMar, like these were mixtape legends, the first group of guys that were nationally taking the league, like Brandon Jennings, you got OJ Mayo, you got Eric Gordon, Derrick Rose, obviously, you got these guys. I just feel like they were larger than life coming into the league. And
Yeah.
and when they got like it doesn't as much as the game has grown and as cold as these young kids are, there was something about those guys that came in and they just had this grit to their game. This like, we are here, we're here to take your shit. Like this is our league now. What was it with that time period?
I think they were the first wave of the YouTube stars, like high school phenom. John Wall came in right after.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would Kemba. I think it was DeMar DeRozan. Hell yeah, like that was like the first wave of like the YouTube phenom
Mm-hmm.
one and dones.
Yeah.
Because at that time you couldn't go out of high school, but all of them could have went out of high school.
Yeah.
Tyreek Evans, it was some guys, man. I think they were the first wave of that. So like, it plays into their legacy, I believe, like a Derrick Rose for sure. To be number one your whole life, and then now we have your jersey up in Chicago in the United Center.
Yep.
That shit is amazing, bro. Eric Gordon's had a great career. Like, Tyreek had a great career. Like DeMar DeRozan is still hooping.
Still. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was just I think DeMar was on the rookie team that we played against the sophomore game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to see that, like, you go, a guy from like him go Compton High School
Mm-hmm.
to USC to a
Mm-hmm.
lottery pick, and to the way his career is going now and his longevity in the league. So I think it's super dope to see, like, be a part of that, watching those guys on YouTube. And now what it is now, everybody's on YouTube. And with the social media being so much different. But those guys was the first wave of that.
And then, I want to talk about when you obviously went on to the Nets, made your mark. Now you're like a certified sniper in the league. You have your identity, you have your role. Then you get to OKC, right? Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, MVP KD, by the way. And you got a squad that is top of the West. You're playing in primetime games. How is that pressure different? Obviously there's being a shooter in the league every night. But then there's like, you're a shooter for these guys on the biggest games and the biggest stages against the biggest. You guys were going up against the Grizzlies, the Spurs, the Warriors, like real wars. And these were like generational squads, dynasties, the Lakers. You still went up against a prime Kobe early on. But I think those years, 2014, 15, 16, take me through those OKC days, bro, because that was a whole different level.
Man, it was how I got signed was I was a free agent, obviously, and I was working out, and I had finished working out, and it's crazy. I had just got my car to go home, and my agent called me and was like, "Yo, Oklahoma City wants to interview you tonight in Atlanta. They'll fly you, and then we got a meeting at the Four Seasons tonight." And I was like, "What time?" It was like late, like maybe like 10 o'clock or something like that p.m. It was crazy. And I was like, I'll drive down there. So I went home, took a shower. I'm like, they ain't got to worry about that. I'll stay at the Four Seasons and everything. I'm cool with that. But they don't have to fly me. So I drove down and got down there. My agent was there. He was like, it was Sam Presti, Money Man, Michael Winger, and assistant GM Troy Weaver. And we just chopped it up for like 20 minutes, and they were like, essentially like, you'll be, why we need you, And I was super excited about that because it came out of nowhere. And then the next day, they pulled the trigger on a 3-year deal. And I was like, my agent told me, he was like, I knew it was going to happen that day because he knew I wanted to play in the Pro-Am that next day, that Saturday. And he was like, nah, he can't play today. So he's coaching the Pro-Am game. And he's on his phone coaching the Pro-Am game and playing. I don't know how he did all this shit at one time. Shout out to Wallace Prather, man.
That's
so
crazy.
He was holding his phone and he's coaching. I'm sitting on the bench just watching. And he like holds his phone back like this. And he's still coaching. And I was like, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was the contract.
Oh
And it
wow.
was like, we're going to sign it after the game. And then, so that's how it went, man. But those days, bro, it was the camaraderie number one, man. Like the chemistry we had as a group was, I mean, it was unmatched. You know, we had everything. We had shooting, we had KD, Russ. That's what that is. Then we had rim protection, we had Serge, we had leadership, Nick Collison, Kendrick Perkins, Big Perk, great young core of guys. And then it was great management. Organization was A1, is A1. And coaching, you know, that Scott Brooks and then Billy. Great staffs. So scouting, player development, everything was A1 professional, bro. And everybody was locked in.
So when I look at that, and I want to see what you think. I think you guys were the best team in the 2016 playoffs. You didn't win it, but I had a feeling that this was the squad that's, if you were to ask me right now, mid-second round, who's the best team in the playoffs right now, I thought it was you guys. What was the energy with KD, with Russ, with that squad, you know, in those series, going into those? Obviously, you take it one game at a time as a pro, but was there a real feeling that we are the best team in this postseason and we're going to win the championship? Or was it like, let's see where we could take this?
Nah, we felt like we could win it. I mean, for real, like Golden State beat us. They swept us in the preseason and the regular season. And we still felt like we was better than them. That's when they won 73 games.
Yeah.
We still felt like we were better than them. And I mean, everybody, you can call any of them guys that was on that team, we felt like we were still better. And we took them to the brink. You know, we won 7-game series. We won 7. And you know, we just fell short. But and you can ask KD this. LeBron told him we wanted Golden State. We didn't want y'all. Because we had been through a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Like, they won 73 games, and it was amazing, and they earned it. But I think that, like, Cleveland felt like that year, okay, they done gave it all they could, and they just won 7 games in the Western Conference Finals against a team that was way more equipped, you know? And, I mean, we were well coached. Like, both sides were well coached, don't get me wrong. But, you know, we felt like if we get to the finals, you know, we're going to get to a place where now it's almost like when you say, like, if it goes 7 games, it's anybody's situation.
Right.
Like, anybody can win.
Right.
So we knew we could take them to the brink, and we knew we felt like we were going to beat Cleveland. We felt like we were going to beat them.
When you guys were up 3-1, and as a competitor, it's not done till it's done, and you know that, but with the energy around the guys, you know, the lead guys, the starting unit, was it like, let's wrap this shit up, we got it, it's done? Because I know when a collapse like that happens, it happens so quick. Like, you lose a game, you know, it's just like you don't even notice it. And to the world, it looks so bad. But from a basketball standpoint, it feels very normal when you collapse like that, right? What was the sense of urgency like when you guys were up 3-1, a game away from the finals? Because remember, KD and Russ were having injuries the prior years, so OKC didn't get back. The reason OKC didn't get back since 2012 was because of the injuries, right? And this was finally like, okay, we overcame that. We're right there. We're at the doorstep. What was that vibe like?
You know, like a loss in the playoffs, man, you almost got to, like, completely have amnesia on that because the turnaround is so fast. You don't really have time to practice. You don't have time. We ain't got time to argue. We don't have time to go back and forth with the coaches. Like, you gotta bounce back quick and get ready for that next game. But the loss, it does snowball. So, and it wasn't like we was getting blown out when they on that comeback. And then Klay hit 11 threes game 6. It wasn't nothing nobody could do about it. And I'm like, bro, he's not taking shots where he's open. So that's why I always said, like, I told him before the series, I had said it all season. I said, as much attention Steph demands because of his range and, you know, how his shot release and everything, I say it's more dangerous if Klay get hot, bro, because he don't care. And if he missing, he don't care. He making them, you in trouble.
He tilted that series. He's the
he's
one that
6'7",
tilted
he
that
shoot
series.
from up
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
And he got a quick release. Nobody talk about his quick shot release too. He
yeah,
still got that shit.
yeah.
You
It's
know, it
crazy.
ain't like it was, but he still got it.
Yeah,
But I'm like, man, we can't let him get hot, like ever. Like nowhere in the series can we let him get comfortable. And he hit his first couple, and he looked back. I mean, he hit 11 threes in a playoff game, 6. And then he
ridiculous.
turned into game 6 Klay after that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
crazy.
But after that, like that was tough because when we didn't close them out at home, game 6, it's just a different vibe when you gotta get on that plane and go back to Oakland. At
Yeah,
the time, Oakland.
yeah, yeah,
You in that Oracle.
yeah,
I was like, man, they gonna be in there going crazy, bro. And it ain't like we played bad, but they had all the momentum. Then you got Draymond acting crazy, because they know what time it is. You at the
right.
crib. We have to close
Momentum,
this out.
momentum. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to keep these episodes going with you, bro. Buckets don't stop. There's a lot of insight that you have that relates to today's game, I think, and being a sniper and being a pro that's always prepared, always ready, always sharp. So let's keep these going if we can, man. We'd love to get you on again next week. Thank you, bro. Thank you for the stories. Let's keep this going.
Appreciate it, brothers.